All right, we're live. Welcome to episode 40 of the Baduk League podcast. I am Shao Dai, and we have again.
Gaza.
Okay, Gaza. Hey, Gaza, how's it going, mate?
Mate, Friday the 13th, eh?
Hey, Friday the 13th, eh? I was hoping to see some Shibano slaughtering some dragon today, but it didn't quite happen. So Gaza, today's a big day, because it's the first game of the Kisei Final between Ichiriki Ryo and Shibano Toramaru. This is game
Game
one.
one of the Kisei,
Game one of
nice.
the Kisei, very nice. So Gaza, what we're looking at here is the Kifu, which is the so white is Ichiriki, black is Shibano. So let me know if you want to focus on any move in particular. I just briefly looked at the Kifu, and I just thought what the key point in the game was kind of around this area. It's got some really interesting fight here. So I think at this point it's roughly even, basically 50-50, like, if you ask me. But look at these three stones. It's kind of like probably needs to jump out. So, but instead of jumping out, Shibano decided to do something cute. Just attach here. I guess the idea is that if white doesn't respond, then obviously, this Hane is very painful. So I guess it's natural for white to extend. But little did Ichiki know, Shibano's thinking about a trap here, and this trap is obviously this move here. Wow, beautiful move, huh? Yeah. So you see the idea is, if black blocks, then when black comes up, normally this move helps protect this, but now black can do this tricky thing, and I think maybe that's what she Shibano was kind of aiming at. You see how that move kind of helps these stones to come out. I think that's what Shibano wants to do, or something like that. So obviously, Ichiki is not going to let Shibano do that. Ichiki instead chose this way, which is what he did in the game, just to let black pull back, and actually connected this way and let black get all of this stuff. And I think this is the key point in the game, because look at Ichiriki's next move, which is quite interesting. It's not. I don't think it's an AI recommendation, Gaza. I don't remember it being so. It's such an interesting move over here. And I think this could be, one of the winning moves for Ichiriki. Because when I was looking at the game, I was like, that doesn't look that big, but like, for example, maybe I can play here, or like in this area. But then I thought about it. I thought, what if black does something like really crazy like this, fire co or something, or also black can do something like this. Like, black's almost alive, so I think maybe Ichiriki just wants to prevent black from kind of even thinking about connecting this black group, and then black has to kind of jump out, and then Ichiriki played really interestingly. He played here, which is like a shape key point in the shape. And now actually at least some of the black stone is going to be captured, because black, there's no way for black to fix both, to prevent both Hanes, I think. It's difficult for black to save all of these stones and still have a good shape. So yeah, very, very interesting. So I thought this fight here is really what Ichiriki ended up, winning the game for Ichiriki. And look at after Ichiriki got the upper hand over here. Look how Ichiriki is playing. Like, he just make himself thick, and then Tanukis.
Can we pause here?
Yeah.
So I noticed that you started at around about move 85
Yeah.
in your analysis here.
Yeah.
So there were a few moves played beforehand. I guess you didn't find any of those interesting.
No.
Yeah, that most of them were. I think, yeah, the move that you started your analysis is where the game really started to get interesting.
Yeah.
Everything before that was sort of, well, it wasn't just Joseki's, but
Yeah.
I guess not really much to talk about. I do want to point out that if you go back a couple of moves, just a couple. Yeah, here. Okay, so this move here, this was the sealed move.
Yeah. So actually, in the end of first day, it was up to here. Yeah.
Yes, and we did have some. There were some comments in the Discord asking, has has the sort of the meta, I guess, of these sort of 2-day games changed with the introduction, with the emergence of AI?
Right.
Just as an aside, yeah. In case anyone was wondering, the players don't actually have access to AI. The Kisei players, that is.
Yeah.
They're scanned for electronics, and they're not even allowed access to computers, I believe, during the game. So they're sort of really in the dark, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's only fair, because otherwise someone could just study, that situation to death overnight.
I believe that it's a different sport, but chess in the past used to have games that would take more than one day, and they would they would adjourn the game, and they would have sealed moves as well.
Right.
And this was back in the 70s and the 80s, and earlier, and players would absolutely study the position with their assistants and stuff overnight. But then when computers became strong, they got rid of those sort of adjournments in chess. So now all chess games are played in one sitting.
Yeah. And I think in the Korean and the Chinese competitions, I think they cancel lunch for that reason as well. I think it used to be that they get breaks for lunch, which used to be true for the Japanese games as well. Except now, I think for games under 3 hours in Japan, they don't break for lunch anymore. I believe that's what I understand to be. But for longer games, they still do break for lunch. So Japan is still holding on to a little bit of the tradition, despite the fact that AI is now, overwhelmingly stronger than humans. But yeah.
Yes, but those games that involve breaks, they're not allowed to use the AI during the breaks.
No, I think they're also monitored as well. But I've heard someone make the comment that the measures that the Japanese Nihon Kin puts in place, they are good at preventing gentlemen from cheating, but not good at preventing what's the word for bad people? I can't remember that anymore. It's not good.
Opportunists.
Like if you basically, I guess the idea is that if you really want to cheat, there's obviously ways to do that. You could just be, you may not have access to a computer, but someone could be, projecting stuff into your room or from afar or whatever. There's a lot of ways to cheat if you really do want to cheat. But I do believe that these Japanese players, they wouldn't want to do that.
And if you're Japanese and you want to learn how to cheat, just keep following the podcast. Xiao Dai Fu.
Yeah.
It sounds like you're about to list off a few methods.
Oh yeah. I've seen this manga based on the manga is Conan. I think in the US it's called Case Closed. It's about this guy who through some scientific methods just kind of kept became a small boy, and he kind of in that form forever. And there was an very interesting way they cheated in a chess game. This is Western chess. So, and the way they cheated was that this guy was playing in a game, but he was always looking out the window. And basically, the way he cheated was that some rich guy had hired the building right outside the window, and he would turn on lights at exactly the spots that he wants the player to go. So imagine the building windows was like an 8x8 grid, and it would just do that. So yeah, there's lots of ways that you can be creative about what you do. But anyway, someone said that's Fujisawa Arena's favorite manga anime. It's still ongoing as far as I believe, as far as I know. It's also one of my favorites. Yeah. So that's the seal move for the first day, Gaza.
Yep.
And what's happened here is that Ichiriki just played really simply, and then Tanuki. Now I think this game almost makes me want to kind of think back to how Shibano have defeated Yamayuta in Game 7, I believe, of the Meijin. You know how Shibano had to kind of slaughter the dragon?
Yes.
I think that's what really Shibano needs to do in this case, actually. Even though AI was saying that White's only ahead by maybe 3 or 4 points. But really, White's only really weakness is this group over here, potentially. But to threaten this group, Black has to pull out this one stone. But it does feel like that Black has no good way of pulling out this stone in Sentei, because you really want to pull this out in Sentei. So, and I think the whole issue is because this whole Black group here is just too weak. It's not thick enough. So, but anyway, Shibano just makes this move, and then Ichiriki says, "Okay, thank you. I'll destroy more of this territory." And then finally Ichiriki added one more move to kind of cleanly capture some of these stones down here. So I think you have to say that at this point Shibano is clearly behind, but it's only by 4 or 5 points if I'm not wrong. And then Shibano decided to say that, well, you've lost your chance to save these 2 stones now, just take some more points. And then Ichiriki just says, Atari, extend. And then this is a very interesting point in the game where I thought Ichiriki was basically saying to Shibano, I'm not worried about the life and death of this group. I'm going to take more points. And I played out an even more like extreme variation. I was saying like White can jump here, and then just taunt Black. Can you actually even kill my group? Because as I said, doesn't seem like there's a good Sentei way for Black to pull out this one stone. Like for example, that's just very painful for Black. I'm not really sure this is gonna work. But anyway, Ichiriki didn't go that far. Ichiriki just said, "Yep, okay. Do you want to connect these 2 stones? If you don't, you can't attack me." So Shibano says, "Okay, I'm gonna connect." And then finally Ichiriki played here. And I think at that point in the Discord chat, people were saying, well, actually, no, they would just play here. In fact, this is the AI recommended move, if I'm not wrong. But Shibano, Ichiriki tries to play something a bit more efficient. Just try to get a bit more out of it. Yeah. So after this point, really, I think Shibano's only chance is to try and kill this White group. But look how weak all these Black stones are. Like, it feels very hard. So this is already looking like a really good game for Ichiriki. And I think, Gaza, there was a moment where, later on in the game, where so Shibano did find a way to try and kill this White group, didn't he? It was somewhere. So you see all of this prep. So finally, Shibano decided to pull this stone out. He felt like he's done enough prep, and then Ichiriki Atari. Now, Gaza, this move. Apparently, some AIs can't find this move.
Yeah, so this is the move that made me realize I need to update my Cardigo network.
Yeah.
I'm currently running on a network from May 2021.
Right.
And it actually doesn't find this move.
Right.
Which this move looks fairly intuitive, but maybe it isn't.
Yeah.
But
I guess the other option there kind of intuitive are this, or maybe even this, and of course this. But I wouldn't know which of these 3 would work the best at my level. Yeah.
Yes, but this move, the move that Ichiriki played is the for any good version, any good AI, up to date AI.
Right.
It does recommend this move. So
yeah.
yeah, pretty. I was impressed that Ichiriki found this one, and from here it's still interesting how White manages to live.
Yeah.
Certainly not a simple. It's certainly not simple for amateur players, at least. Maybe for any professional, it's
yeah. I mean,
straightforward, but I don't know.
Yeah, I can't say for sure, but what I noticed is that the win rate for White is at 92%. But I mean Ichiriki, but Shibano has been there before with Yama. So, but really, Black's only chance is to kill this group. But it does look a little bit unlikely, given that you're facing a top pro here who can. I always imagine a top pro can always just make this group alive just easily. But
well, I mean, if you do go forward a few more moves, Black sort of makes a ko here.
Yeah, Black finds a ko. Yeah.
The problem is that Black doesn't have any ko threats. Well, I mean, so here, so this is that's the biggest move.
Yeah.
That first line move, and it's still not big enough.
Right.
So it saves a couple of. It connects the stones on the right.
It saves all of these stones. Yep.
Yeah, but the problem is that White's middle group now lives, and Black just doesn't have enough points. Like it's a perfectly fine trade for White, and Ichiriki just plays simple moves from here, a couple of good Yosei moves, and Shibano's just looking for a place to resign now.
Yeah, I guess it's not a foregone conclusion, because when I looked at the Kifu, you look at this white dragon over here, like it looks very long, but technically it's actually not alive. But I think obviously Ichiriki already realized that.
Oh technically it doesn't have two eyes, but now Ichiriki
definitely noticed and then kind of makes it alive. So now basically I guess once this white group is alive, there's zero chance for Shibano to come back, because he just doesn't have enough points. Basically, I think that's the story. Yeah. So basically, needless to say, a game continued on for a little bit, but it was basically a foregone conclusion after that white group lived. And so its game is 1-0 in favor of Ichiriki in this Kisei. So So
I liked this game. Yeah. I know that Black was seemingly behind the entirety of day 2 and wasn't able to overcome it. But I thought it was. I did like the sequence in the middle where White was able to make that group live, and it had its interesting moments.
Yeah, I think it's still an interesting game. Just that it wasn't super exciting right from beginning to end. So it was a decent game. Okay, so that's the Kisei game 1.
Now this is the 47th Kisei, I believe. Is that right?
Is it 48 or 47? Let me quickly
check.
That looks like
47th Kisei.
Yeah, 47th Kisei. Yeah.
Now the 48th Kisei has kind of already started.
Well, part of the Kisei system.
Well, obviously. I mean, while the 47th Kisei is coming to an end, the 48th Kisei is already getting into gear with the preliminaries.
Yes.
And something interesting about the Kisei is that amateurs can participate.
Yep.
It's not just for pros. And in fact, I think last year, an amateur was actually in the C League.
Right. Yeah.
And I think they're in the C League for at least 2 seasons. Because they qualified once and then they managed to win enough games to keep their spot.
Yeah.
Which is quite remarkable, considering all these pros that they're like, the majority of pros don't qualify for Kisei.
No.
So theoretically, the Kisei, an amateur can win the Kisei as well.
Yes. which would be crazy actually if it did happen. Now, Gaza. Now you mentioned Kisei. So on the Nihon Keen page, any player that you see in this color, whose name is highlighted in this color, is basically an amateur. Yeah.
Yes, and the pink ones are women players.
Yes, that's right.
I've always been curious. What if the amateur is a woman? What color would they be?
What color do you get if you mix blue with pink, purple, some kind of purple?
Well, yeah, I just don't know. I'm not sure. Like, I'm just not sure if.
Yeah.
I would assume that they would just be blue
Right.
to show that they're amateur, but
Yeah.
I don't know. Has there ever been an amateur woman in the preliminaries? I'm not sure.
Not that I know of. Considering the toughness of qualifying through the preliminary, I do believe the criteria is that you have to finish in the top 4 of the amateur Kisei competition, and I imagine that to be quite difficult. And also, obviously, the other way is to kind of have made it the previous year and then and then get retained in the C League or something like that.
Well, hopefully an amateur woman does participate in the Kisei qualifiers.
Yeah.
And we're able to we're informed about it so that we can find out what color they are.
Yeah, hopefully that will happen. Now, Gaza, something very interesting happened in the prelim this year involving an amateur player in the Kisei system. And that is, we have an amateur progressing quite far into the prelim so far. I believe there's an amateur by the name of Cao Ruixiao. He's a Chinese player, but who studies in Japan. He might have just one of those kids that just failed to make pro, for example, in China. And I think he has made the prelim quarterfinal. So basically, he has to go through semi-final and final. He's only 2 more games from making the C League. So we might see another amateur making the C League this year. Yeah.
I'm just checking now. Looks like he still has to win 3 more games.
Oh, 3 more games. Is that right?
Well, yes, he still needs to. Oh wow, he's got to wait. He's okay.
Okay, so he's in the second. So he's a win, the quarter.
Yeah, the
semi and final. Yeah.
Yeah, the problem is that his next game is against Ishida Yoshio.
Yeah.
Who is honorary Honinbo.
Yeah. But he is in his 70s, if I'm not wrong. So yeah.
Okay, it's going to be a tough one. It's going to be a bit tricky.
Yeah.
But that would be some result if he managed to win that one.
Yeah. So yeah, so we'll continue to follow this.
Yeah, he in his first round he did beat a Pro 9 Dan.
Yeah.
So.
Oh wow, yeah, these things can happen.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah. So that's a little bit about the Kisei, Gaza. I think it's time to move on to a little bit about the this Korean League game which happened recently. Now the Korean League this year has adopted the system of Fisher increment for their timing. Now, one statistics I've heard is that out of the first 10 matches that's happened in the Korean League, 5 of the matches had at least one game whose result was lost by time. So, and this is also technically a loss by time, but let's just play the video to show you guys how the loss by time happened. So this is the black player about to make a move. And I don't know what just happened there. It seems like a bunch of kung fu, and then he started touching his hair, and then he lost. So what's happened there, Gaza?
If you actually look just under, they're gone now, but just underneath the players, it shows their time, how much time they've left.
Yeah.
We'll link the video in the description. It's of course on the wonderful Korean Baduk channel, Baduk TV.
Mm.
But these are actually two very strong players. Park Kyun-ho, who's top 10 in Korea, and Lee Ji-hyun, who's former top 10 in Korea and former Maxim Cup champion. But it looks like, so Park Kyun-ho is black, and he plays the move, and then he goes to press the clock, which you have to do after you play the move. The problem was he actually hadn't let go of the stone. He was still holding the stone when he went to press the clock.
Yeah.
And I think, his mind just, once that happened, his brain just went haywire, and he did all those arm movements and stuff. And unfortunately for him, he was doing this, in the very last second, and he lost on time.
Yeah.
It's quite funny. It's
this could be
the thing was the
moment of the year.
Oh yeah, no, this is already a candidate for humorous moment.
Yeah.
Of 2023.
Yeah.
But yeah, the thing is also at least Black wasn't winning.
Mm.
Oh, and he punches himself in the back of the head as well. So frustrated.
Yeah.
But the thing is, the game was fairly even at that moment.
Right.
If Black was ahead, it would be even more tragic. But yeah. It's still unfortunate.
Yeah, it's been unfortunate for Black. All that kung fu action was very quite interesting to watch. All right, so that's a little bit of an interesting thing that has happened in the Korean League. Now, Gaza, shall we move on to possibly my favorite topic, Proweiqi Awards?
Well, okay, so you don't want to stay in the Korean League?
We can talk more about the Korean League. Is there anything particularly you want to cover? Discuss.
Well, we've got a new record.
A new record, yes.
In the Korean League, and of course it's
Shin Jinseo.
Hey?
Shin Jinseo, yeah.
Yeah, Shin Jinseo. You may have heard of him. We talk about him every podcast.
Yeah.
But he played in the Korean League, I believe, last night.
Yep.
As of this recording.
Mm.
Now, interestingly enough, he was actually playing his former team.
Yeah.
Against his former team, Celtrion. He was in Team Celtrion last year.
Yep.
But he had to leave the team. The team had to release him because of the rule that you can only keep a player for so many years.
Yep.
So he moved on to Team Kicks, which is actually the oldest team currently in the Baduk League, I believe.
Right.
They've been around for over 15 years in the Baduk League. But he was playing Team Celtrion, which is a completely different team from last season.
Mm.
And Shin Jinseo's team, Team Kicks, actually lost. They lost 3-1. Of course, that one, the 1 point that Team Kicks got was from Shin Jinseo himself. He beat Sim Jae-ik.
Yep.
Quite a young player who was in the Myeongin last year. He actually lost to Shin Jinseo in the Myeongin as well.
Yeah.
Last year, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, he's actually Shin Jinseo's 31st victim in a row in the Baduk League.
Yeah.
In the Korean Baduk Leagues. So Shin Jinseo, 2 seasons ago, he won the last 2 games of the championship final. Then he won all 27 games last season.
Yep.
And now he's won 2 games so far this season.
Yep.
So that makes 31 consecutive wins.
Crazy stuff.
And yeah, not only is that a Baduk League record, but it's actually a record in any tournament for most wins in a single tournament.
Right. Yeah.
The previous record of 30 was set by, surprise, surprise, Lee Chang-ho.
Oh.
And that was actually in the Nongshim Cup. Now, we've mentioned before that Lee Chang-ho won 14 straight games in the Nongshim Cup.
Yeah.
But you also, if you take into account the qualifiers to actually make the Korean team, he won 30 games in a row.
Right.
from 1999 to 2005, so a 6-year period. And during that streak, Shin Jinseo was born. So
Yeah, right.
So yeah, it's been a while since that record was set, and yeah, pretty crazy that someone actually managed to exceed it.
Yeah. And but did you not say that Choi Jong's won 31 consecutive games in the women's league?
Oh yes, so when I say this 31 straight wins is a record for a single tournament, I'm talking about open tournaments.
Right.
So tournaments that anyone can compete in.
Right.
If you also include restricted tournaments, so like youth tournaments, women's tournaments, senior tournaments, like things like that.
Yeah.
The record is actually Choi Jong.
Yeah.
The record's actually held by Choi Jong. She's so far won 39 consecutive games in the Chinese Women's League.
Right. Crazy.
And that's still an ongoing streak. She hasn't actually lost yet. Well, I mean, since her streak started.
Yeah.
So she can keep going there.
And is Choi Jong's league streak set in the Chinese Women's Yi League? Not
Yes, it's in the Yi League. She's never actually played in the Women's Jar League. So
Right.
it's
Second
in the women's second division,
Yeah. Okay.
And Choi Jong herself has also had a 31 game win streak in the Women's Baduk League, the Korean Women's Baduk League.
Crazy stuff. So
big achievement for Shin Jinseo. Who knows if he can keep going? I believe his next game in the Baduk League is against Moon Min-jung.
Yeah.
The former rookie king.
Yep.
So let's see if he can get to 32.
Yeah, very interesting. Now, Gaza, it's very interesting that you mentioned that during the time when Lee Chang-ho set the last record of 30 wins, he did it, in the year 1999 and 2005, during which Shin Jinseo was born. And a commenter in the chat, Elom, he just said that imagine this is the Lion King and Lee Chang-ho holds Shin Jinseo up. That's
what a visual!
What an interesting imagery we have there. I guess I wonder who's that evil uncle? Was it Park Jun-hwan? Because I think at one point Park Jun-hwan was beating Shin Jinseo like 12-0. But yeah, I can't remember that.
Okay. But also in the Baduk League, there's currently a match going on right now.
Yeah.
Between who is playing? Taigem is playing, and Korea Price Information. So that's Kang Dong-yoon's team, Korea Price Information, and Team Taigem is An Sang-jun's team, and Park Yun-ho of the poor victim of the time loss is actually going to be playing today.
Oh wow!
And he's going to be playing Han Song-ju, who was a nominee for Bad Move of the Year from last year's Baduk League.
Oh wow! So good luck.
So two people who have had some rather infamous moments in the Baduk League will be playing against each other, and both of them are very strong, by the way.
Yeah. So okay.
So feel free to and that's being streamed right now on Baduk TV. So if you want to go watch that, by all means.
Yeah, definitely. Like if you do it like me, I just have it on in the background. So Gaza, is there anything else in Korean League we want to cover before we move to the Proweiqi Awards?
No, let's go to the
Oh yeah, my favorite.
awards.
And honestly, I can't remember which categories we've covered. I assume we've covered.
Well, let's do a
Player of the Year.
recap. Let's do a recap because I want to at least mention all the categories together in one podcast.
Yeah.
Now, the two awards that we have already done was Rising Star of the Year, and that was won by Nakamura Sumire.
Yep.
And Disappointment of the Year. And the winner of that was Lee Dong-hoon's early retirement.
Yep. And also, have we?
They're the only two that we did.
So let's start with the big one, Gaza. Player of the Year.
Yes. Now this was actually the first poll that we put up, but this one all of the polls were 3 days long, except for this one, which you set for 7 days.
Yeah.
So this one finished a bit later than a couple of the other polls. Yeah.
Sure. So we got no surprise there. We got Shin Jinseo at with 27 votes. I do recall a viewer wanted to put Kerje there for the lols, but that didn't happen. And then Choi Jong hot on Shin Jinseo's heel at 18 points. And
yes,
then,
I was very surprised to see Choi Jong get so many votes.
Yeah.
But obviously, the Samsung Cup performance is, everyone remembers that. So
she's made history. Yeah.
Yes.
So there'll be another award for her that kind of commemorates that. But then, a bunch of also runs, Lee Shun-hao, Yueno Asami, and Xu Hao-hong got 0 votes.
Interestingly enough, Xu Hao-hong got no votes because, technically speaking, he actually won the most tournaments in 2022.
Yeah.
However, they were all Taiwanese domestic tournaments, so not as strong competition there, but he still had a good year.
Yeah, had a good year. So that settles it. And then, of course, we have covered Disappointment of the Year. And then we got to Game of the Year. And this is a very interesting one. It's very, very tight. The winner happens to be Ichiriki Ryo versus Yamayuta, Honeybook Game 1. And that, to me, it was the game that left the most, it kind of made me... It's a game that I remember the most. So I kind of agree with that. I don't remember the other games as much as that one because
it's probably also the game that we sort of talked about the most. Maybe we may have influenced the voting with how much we gushed over it in the podcast. But that was my game of the year as well.
Yeah, so it won it. But then the next one at 5 votes is Yang Dingshin's Revenge versus Shin Jinseo in a super high quality game in the LG Cup semi-final. That was a super high quality game. Shin Jinseo was only undone by a very tiny detail at the end, and both players played brilliantly. So,
I'm not sure if I still don't know where exactly Shin Jinseo lost. It was such a high quality game.
Yeah,
and obviously I've just found out that my AI is quite out of date. So. Maybe I will look at the game with an updated engine and see, because it's really hard to say that Shin Jinseo actually played bad in this game. I've said all along that I think he actually played quite well even for his high standards, but he still lost.
Yeah, and of course the next one at 4 votes is Shin Jinseo reverses an impossible game versus Yang Dingshin LG Cup Final Game 1. So this is the previous LG Cup. Of course, they met again in the next LG Cup in semi-final. That's where the last the game with 5 votes came from. Yeah, so that was another crazy game where Shin Jinseo just managed to just grab hold of the only chance he had in the game to beat Yang Dingshin. That was quite good.
Yeah, very, very interesting game.
Yeah,
and I believe Michael Redmond also did a live stream of that game.
Yeah.
So
and the Kisei League game, I honestly can't remember much about that, but it was.
We never actually covered it. We never covered it in a podcast. We completely missed it. But an actual professional told me about this game, and it was just so good that I had to put in as a nominee, and it's good to see that it got votes. It looks like we had a good. We picked the right games for
very,
the
very
nominee.
competitive. Yeah.
Yeah.
And for the next category, Gaza, Achievement of the Year. Now, although Choi Jong didn't win Player of the Year, she did win this category by a mile. So Choi Jong picked it up for becoming the first woman to make an open world major final, because she made the final of the Samsung Cup. And let's just repeat like all the victims that she kind of beat along the way. She beat Sada Tsushi, and she beat Ichiriki Ryo, Yang Dingshin, Byung Sang-il. So she only fell at the last hurdle to Shin Jinseo. So there was quite a list of victims that she's
Yeah,
accumulated there.
none of those are gimmies.
No,
You could have said she was the underdog in all of those games.
100%, yes. Oh,
Yeah.
maybe not Sada Sushi. Maybe she was.
Like
maybe,
yeah, possibly still though.
Yeah, possibly,
Yeah.
yeah. So I think definitely deserved the win. I think the next one is Shin Jinseo remaining undefeated in the Korean League, going 27-0.
Yeah, that was my vote.
Yeah.
I just can. That's just insane to me.
Yeah. And as we talked about earlier, it's still ongoing. So let's see when this ends.
Yeah.
Of course, my vote went to the next one, which is Shin Jinseo winning 2 world majors in 1 year, LG Cup and Samsung Cup.
Yeah, they were the only 2 world majors, world major finals in 2022. So Shin Jinseo technically cleaned up.
Crazy.
Yeah. Always. I mean, the majors are the pinnacle of Baduk, apart from the Asian Games.
Yeah.
And so
and the other 3 achievements got one sympathy vote, which is Ichiriki Ryo win the Kisei, and Shin Jinseo wins Nongshim Cup for Korea with 4 wins in a row, and then Xiaohong winning 7 titles in 1 year and holding 8 out of 9 titles in Taiwan. So
I would say the Nongshim Cup one is a little bit underrepresented here. That I was tempted to vote on that one.
Right.
I thought that's genuinely impressive.
Yeah, I think it might get more votes if this continues this year, where Shin Jinseo again cleans up for Korea, and if it builds on that for dare I say 4 or 5 years, then I really see that. I mean, I think that then he'll definitely win it. Although technically it's not.
I'm sure that's what he's thinking about. He's thinking about winning more Nongshim Cup games so that he can win the Proweiqi Achievement of the Year award.
Oh yeah, I think that will be the pinnacle of it. Forget about these world majors. This is the thing that people are going for, Gaza.
Yeah.
And, speaking about trying to do winning an award, some of these rising stars we talked about, Nakamura Sumeri, which to me is a bit of a surprise winner. I think I would have picked Kim Yoon-ji because as you saw in the special best of 3, Kim Yoon-ji is the better player, but Nakamura Sumire beat Kim Yoon-ji and Wang Xinghao to take this award. So well done.
Yeah, I voted for Wang Xinghao, of course, because he won the Globus Cup.
Yeah. So,
but mind you, of course, we're going to be contacting all these pros to tell them the important news that they've won the Proweiqi award.
Yeah. I'll definitely do that.
That's a joke, by the way.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I've never heard the category of by the way jokes, so I don't know. Looking forward to it. Now to bad move of the year.
Oh, this is my favorite.
This is my favorite category.
Yeah.
So this is the nominee from I can't remember who nominated this. Maybe me. I think it was
you did.
Yeah, I think Hyo Seo-hyun playing Kim Yoon-ji, and this is actually quite hidden because actually Hyo Seo-hyun was gonna win. Like she was gonna win this game, and all she had to do was just play at A here and capture this big group. And for whatever reason, she decided to Atari here. Then this is actually much smaller than Atari at A. And maybe she had this illusion that it was actually didn't actually play here, but obviously White just needs to just Atari, and then this black group is.
You mean extend, right? Not Atari.
Yeah, well, you can Atari extend or even doing that.
Oh yeah, you can Atari. I guess.
You can Atari. So that's nominee number 1. Hyo Seo-hyun just missing a massive and fairly obvious opportunity to win the game. And then second one is a crazy one, which is Yama Yuta failing to realize that this black group is actually still alive.
We actually, so these are actual screenshots here of the game.
Yeah.
Now, the top left there,
yeah,
that is the moment where, like, that's the first opportunity for white to kill that black group, I believe.
Right.
And as you can see, Ayama plays the wrong move.
Yeah. Sure.
So there's no people. We were theorizing that hypothetically maybe one of the white stones moved, which would have made the black group no longer like savable.
Yeah.
But it looks like we don't actually. I don't think we've seen the actual video. We've just got these screenshots, but it doesn't look like that happened. It just looks like absolute blindness by Ayama and Kato Atsushi, his opponent.
Yeah.
Because in the top right image, that's the end of the game.
Yeah.
That's when they're picking up the dead stones and doing the counting and stuff.
Yeah.
And you can see the group is still very much savable. And it's actually black's turn.
Yeah.
But black passes.
Yeah.
It's black is Kato Atsushi, by the way.
Yeah.
And you can look at the very bottom of that image. I'm not sure if you can see it, but at the very bottom of that image, it's actually an AI bar.
Right.
And it says black at 99.
Yeah.
And white at 1.
Yeah.
And they both pass, and white ends up winning.
Yeah.
It's just.
Yeah.
I've never seen that happen. I've never seen two players go to a count.
Yeah.
Where with one player winning, and yet the other player wins because they both agree on the wrong status of a group. I've never seen that.
Yeah.
And to this happen not only in like a top pro game, but involving the best player in Japan.
Yeah.
Just unfathomable. And I think we can. I don't think we need to keep the suspense here because this voting has finished.
Yeah.
And this sequence won the bad move of the year.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's so simple as I've shown here in this sequence. So black just has to extend, and there's no way to kill black after this.
Yeah,
I can't believe both players missed it. Yeah.
It's just I'm still struggling. I'm still struggling to get my head around this.
Yeah,
I don't think I'll ever figure out what was going through their minds in this game.
I would be interested to read an interview, but obviously you're not the only one. As we mentioned in a previous podcast, the player commentating on this game was Takao Shinji. He said in his 30 years commentating, he's never seen something as bizarre as this one. So this takes the cake. Let's put it this way. Okay, but obviously let's just go through the other nominees, which are quite interesting because he in this Choi Jong is white, and once black played here to fill in her liberty, actually this black group is now actually in trouble. But neither Choi Jong nor the player realized at this point.
Kim Yoon Sun. No, it wasn't Kim Yoon Sun. It was
I can't remember. I can't remember her name.
Kim Soo Jin or something. I think it was Kim Soo Jin.
Yeah. I think I can't remember who it was. It was one of the Kims. Yeah, I do believe.
Kim Soo Jin. Yeah, it was definitely Kim Soo Jin.
Now, I gave a sequence where how black could be end up in trouble, and then there was a comment kind of questioning whether this is the optimal sequence, but perhaps not. But this
your sequence is actually wrong.
Right.
The first move, white has to play at K10. So where the move 5, white has to play there first.
Okay, and then Atari.
And then at 3.
And then at 3. Okay, and then
Atari. And then Atari at 1.
Right. Okay. So but
it turns out that it is tricky. Even an amateur Dan player can miss it, and perhaps that's why.
Yeah.
Perhaps that's why this move didn't get any votes.
Right. Oh, damn it. Maybe it's my sequence that ruined it, but it is quite bad. But anyway.
Well, I mean, it is still quite tricky, and both of these players were in Byoyomi at the time.
Right.
So.
Okay. To be honest, I think Atariing first is already bad enough for black because because imagine if white ends up fighting a code and these stones are saved already. So even getting into a co-fight is already bad enough for. But I do think that you have to push here after your Atari, or maybe push here first. Otherwise, taking first doesn't work. Yeah, I just realized that. But anyway, that's it. This one didn't get any votes, but it was still pretty bad. Now this is a funny one, which I've shown a video of before. Basically, he could have kind of just won this game, but
Han Song-ju, and the context is also funny. Those other ones, there was a little bit of context. For instance, in Choi Jong's game, that was in the Korean Women's League.
Yeah.
And that was she just in 2021 she won every game
right
in the Women's League, and this was her very first game in 2022.
Yeah.
Against Kim Soo-jin.
That's right. Yeah.
And she lost. So she lost her very first game of 2022, and her team lost 2-1.
Damn.
So it contributed to her team losing. And, in the very end, they ended up missing the playoffs by 1 win.
Yeah.
So, who knows? So there is a bit of context here. And this other one, this other one that we're about to discuss with Han Sung-ju.
Yeah.
This was a must-win game for his team to stay in the playoffs. And interestingly enough, this was for Team Taijin. Han Sung-ju was playing for Team Taijin, and that's the same team that Choi Jong played for that season.
Right.
So, and I think Choi Jong hadn't yet played in this round. I think she was due to play next as long as Han Sung-ju won. But because he lost, because he ended up playing this bad move, Choi Jong never got to play this round.
Yeah. I do believe that he only has, as White only has to connect, and then Black's only chance is to throw in, but Black can just take it, and that would be absolutely winning for White.
Well, I don't think. Yeah, it's Yeah, at this point, White could have already, and one previous move, White could have connected earlier, and then it wouldn't have even been a ko.
Yeah.
So White already has allowed Black to make it a ko, but White will still win it. The problem is then that White needs to actually connect. Yeah, White needs to actually connect to make it a simple ko.
Yeah.
But White doesn't. White plays elsewhere, and now it's a double ko.
Yeah. So now basically, Black just takes, and then if White does actually Black just have to throw in now. If White takes, then Black can take the top, and you can see because this ko never finishes. White can never.
Yeah, Black can do either. Black can take or Black can throw in.
Yeah. So I think it's never like White can never make 2 eyes now. It's just pure dead.
Yeah. Yeah. White can only make 2 eyes if White has infinite ko threats, which he doesn't.
Yeah. So yeah. So I can't agree more with the winner Yama getting 10 votes. I
love that Han Sung-ju mistake. It's one of the very few times when I can see why it's a bad move.
Yeah.
But But then the Yama game came along and just blew everything out of the water.
That's just crazy.
I don't know if we'll ever see anything top that for badness.
Probably not at the pro level anyway.
We'll let Yama know that he's won the bad move of the year.
Yeah. And then just put more salt on his wounds after losing the Meijin. That's not a bad idea. Upset of the year, Gaza. This is just close one day.
I'm just reading Elon's comments in the chat.
Yeah.
He's a big fan of the Proweiqi awards.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I have to say, it is one of the best awards in the world.
Big fan. Love you, Elon.
Yeah.
All right, upset of the year.
Upset of the year. Now, this is a little bit of a surprise to me because the nominees were Ueno Asami wins the Senko Cup. He beat Yu Jiying and Fujisawa Arena. Sada Atsushi beating Mi Yuting in the Chunnan Cup. That actually won. But
that was my vote.
Oh yeah, nice.
I voted for that because it was it wasn't just that he won, which is still a big upset. At the time, Sada Atsushi was very fresh in terms of world
International,
major experience.
Yeah.
Miyu Ting is a 2-time M Lily Cup
Winner.
champion.
Yeah.
And Sada Tsushi not only beat him, but like made him look like an amateur, really.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like just completely outread him, and Miyu Ting had nothing.
Yeah. I'm not sure if Miyu Ting maybe like if he had like played like treated this game a bit more seriously, maybe he wouldn't have been so easily outread by Sada. Like maybe he thought he was like, oh, I'm gonna win anyway, whatever. I'm gonna outread this guy, but it got completely destroyed. So yeah, that's that. Now my vote went to Wang Xinghao doing a 2-1 over Shin Jinseo in a big money tournament, but that only got 3 votes, same as the other ones.
I guess maybe because it was only an exhibition, like it's big money, but it was still technically an unofficial tournament. Like the games don't count.
Sure, yeah. But beating Shin Jinseo in a what's it called, multi-game series, it's only happened not that very often. I mean, the last time it happened obviously was Jun versus Shin Jinseo 2-0.
In the Myungin.
But that kind of seems really rare nowadays. But yeah, Wang Xinghao's managed to do that. And by the way, back then Wang Xinghao was outside of the top 32 in China, so he was just an up and comer. He wasn't even in the top 10 in China, so that was quite big for me. And then the next one is Yang Dingxin beating Shin Jinseo in the LG Cup semi.
This one seemed to get a few votes as well, but I didn't even consider this to be an upset.
Yeah,
it's like an upset in name only.
Yeah. I guess anyone can lose it in Dingxin, I guess.
Yeah. And I think that was that's the best game I've ever seen Yang Dingxin play.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I guess maybe it is an upset. Maybe it's an upset because Shin Jinseo actually played to his usual standard and still lost.
Yeah.
So maybe you could consider it an upset, but I just thought it was a great game.
Yeah.
By Yang Dingxin, and it's at least all the nominees seem to get a few votes there, but I think the right choice won there.
Yeah.
Big congrats to Sada at Sushi.
Yep, congrats. And also now, Gaza, I think Miyu Ting is going to feature in the next one, hopefully. Controversy of the year, which this is had almost no competition. Obviously.
Oh, this one just the voting just closed, I think.
Yeah, closed 53 minutes ago. Now, so that's actually just when we started the podcast. Now Yang Dingxin accusing Li Shunhao, that's got to take it this year. It's just got zero competition. Yeah.
Wow, that was a blowout.
Yeah.
And I guess rightly so. I mean, well, firstly, it's a recent incident, so we still don't really know the resolution. I mean, there's been some decisions taken with the whole suspension and things like that, but I'm not sure if we can say that this has been fully resolved. So it's still fresh in people's minds, and people are still discussing it, quite passionately. So, and I guess like even if this happened at the beginning of the year, it probably still would have won, because we've never seen any cheating accusations this serious among, the top pros.
Yeah. And Yang is like ranked
it's
number
quite
3
unprecedented.
Yeah.
And it's quite out of left field for Yang Dingxin. Like, I think before this he didn't have this reputation of being out, walking outside, the status quo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was quite. I'm not really sure if it's out of character or if it's just he's always like that and he kind of just decides to explode. But he's still actually, if you think about it, Yang Dingxin is actually still very young. He's only like 24. So
yes.
Yeah. So I mean, maybe if you're young and you just got hot-headed once or twice and you can do silly things, but whatever. And then there's no competition. I don't know if we need to even go over the other one.
Well, my vote was actually for a different one. My vote was for the Changchi Cup.
Okay.
Because that was actual cheating, and as far as I'm aware, this is still the only known case of cheating in official professional games.
Right. Yeah. and it's quite sad because obviously they thought that human nature would tend towards doing the right thing, but obviously they obviously need to study history a bit more. But yeah, that didn't happen. Obviously,
I think the controversy here wasn't just the cheating, but just the poorly,
yeah,
the poor planning
yeah,
of
yeah.
these
this
like,
whole
I
premium,
guess,
I would say it's more. I think that I would use the word naive planning more so than poor planning, because obviously
naive,
like they obviously thought that, oh, well, this guy's gonna play, I'm gonna assign another player as the designated
proctor,
player, to check on it. But obviously none of these people are trained. Some of them may even be friends, because if you play in the same city online and you're the only two pros in your city, maybe like you already know each other or something, then a lot of stuff happen. But I guess the thing that will come out of that is we'll probably never see another prelim again, unless it's all in one place, because it just doesn't work. It just doesn't.
Mind you, and the thing that we've mentioned it before, but we should make it clear: a pro did get caught cheating.
Yeah.
In the Changchi Cup, Lu Ruji or something like that.
Yeah.
I think he's only a 1 or 2 dan pro.
Yeah.
But he has been suspended for a year.
Yeah.
Because of this.
And I think Gaza, I think actually what's actually they actually caught 2 or 3, if not more, pros cheating in similar fashion. I think I do remember reading a report where they actually caught like more than one pro cheating anyway, in similar fashion.
And did they all get suspended?
Yeah, they all got the same suspended. But
okay, I did not know that. I'm very curious to know their names.
Yeah, it's more than one. We might have to just dig up the reports. But it was bad. It was not good. And of course, 2 other things that actually happened, which I'm surprised didn't get any votes, was Kang Dong-yoon versus Tojashi, where the game ended in a draw only due to, I guess, what I would call a quirk in the Korean rule. It's a quirk in that it's under the Chinese rule or the Japanese rule or the in-cup rule, Tour would have lost. But under Korean rule, it just ended up being a draw. So I wonder if the Korean rules will get updated because of this. Of course, the Shin Jinseo versus Miyu Ting. Miyu Ting had lost on time, but after reviewing the video, it was overturned and they had to replay.
And at the time, that was... at the time it was very hotly discussed because the original decision was that Miyu Ting had lost on time, and while they were discussing it, Miyu Ting and Shin Jinseo were both still had to stay in the playing area.
Yeah.
Without access to their electronics or anything like that. I remember the video, Shin Jinseo was just walking around in the playing area, and it was for at least an hour after the mishap happened. Because I guess they were trying to, they had to try and think of a resolution, and preferably, hopefully they were trying to find a resolution for that day, because in the end, the fact that the loss was overturned meant everything had to get delayed by 1 day.
Yeah.
Which meant all of the games after that. So using Chi was the next opponent.
Yeah.
I think so. He was intending to play the next day, and he now had to be told he was playing 1 day later.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then all the other games as well. It was. And that's almost unprecedented.
Yeah.
And I remember only seeing the video of Miyu Ting's mishap after they made the decision that Miyu Ting would be given a loss.
Yeah.
And I remember discussing it with you at the time. And when I first saw the video, I'm like, well, I mean, it looks like he actually moved in time.
Yeah.
Yeah, and very controversial. And then when I went to sleep, and then the next day I found out that it had been overturned. Yeah, it genuinely was a hot topic.
Yeah.
Among the Pro Go fan community,
Yeah, 100%. and potentially that's why the Kangdong-Yun Tour game in the very next Nongshim Cup had to be played on the same day with the remaining times.
That was a different thing though, because the first one was sort of they're both officially draws,
right?
But the first one it wasn't a game end, like the game wasn't meant to have finished,
right?
It was a draw by malfunction.
Yeah. Well, okay, guys. Technically, I think it was not a draw. I think it was technically a void.
Oh yes, but on the game record, on a player's win-loss record, on Shin Jinseo's win-loss record, it's given the same
status as draw.
Status as a draw. He's also had a draw by triple co, and it's given the same status. So.
Okay. I guess functionally it's the same as a draw, but technically it should be considered a void. But now guys, two news items that came out of Japan got 0 votes. Maybe people didn't care, but one of them, of course, was Cho Son-jin, a former Honimbo, was arrested on domestic violence related.
Yes,
events.
This one's probably the nastiest.
Yeah.
Controversy. The others are all. I mean, Yang Dingjin people have lost respect for him.
Yeah.
But I think not on the level of Cho Son-jin. I shouldn't laugh. It's not good domestic violence. But being the worst, having the worst ethics of a pro doesn't make you the most controversial. So
sure. And then of course Yoda Norimoto was banned from playing in the Samsung Cup after losing a defamation court battle with Nihon Kin. I guess the silver lining of that was Sumire getting the spot.
Yes, Elon mentioned that in the chat. Yeah, Yoda being banned is actually what allowed Sumire to play
and win a game.
Actually, we don't know that because there was always going to be a wild card.
Yeah.
For the Samsung Cup, and when Yoda was banned, they essentially made it 2 wild cards, and one of the wild cards was OU Jin.
Yeah.
And the other one was Nakamura Sumire, and I don't think they ever specified. Like, I don't think they ever distinguished between the 2 wildcards. Like, they never said that one of them is a replacement for Yoda.
Yeah. Okay.
But I think people are assuming because it's a Korean tournament, the wildcard is almost always a Korean player.
Yeah.
And the fact that Nakamura Sumire is Japanese, people just connect the dots and say, well, she probably replaced. She probably wouldn't have been selected if not for Yoda.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Yeah. So I guess, I don't think I've mentioned this before in the podcast, but apparently what Yoda Norimoto has done was that apparently Yoda's wife was running for some official post in the Nihon Kin. So it was an election. So I think Yoda's wife lost, and after that, Yoda started making some derogatory comments about Nihon Kin.
Just slagging them off.
Yeah. I think that's what happened, as far as I can tell from the reports that I've read about afterwards. But still, no votes.
And but I think the big issue was that Nihon Kin lost a sponsor.
Yeah, that also,
as a result, yes.
Yeah, which is
and
crazy.
Elam's mentioned in the chat. They actually said in the stream that they said that Sumire replaced Norimoto.
Yeah,
that replaced Yoda. I'm willing to believe that.
Yeah, the story I've heard was that after Nihon Kin decided to ban Yoda, they had a discussion with the Korean side, and then they kind of agreed that they would design a wild card just for a Japanese player, and they happened to have chosen Sumire. So
yeah.
So
makes sense.
Yeah. So after a little bit of controversy, it's moved on to, I guess, almost my second favorite, and hopefully it'll become a perennial award for the years to come, which is the humorous moment of the year. Please, humor.
Now, actually, this voting is still live.
Oh, it's still live.
There are 2 awards.
Oh.
Where the voting has not finished.
Okay.
We've covered all of the ones that have finished now.
Yeah. So go vote on the on move of the
Got the
year,
humorous moment of the year
humorous moment of the year. Truly some gems there, and move of
and
the
move
year.
of the year.
Yeah.
You better not. I hope you haven't shown the poll results because people don't see the results
Is that right?
until they vote.
Oh
Yeah.
wow! Just delete that from your memory, all right, guys, if you have seen it.
Oh,
Okay, no, okay, that's the Weiqi Awards. I think we'll have a nice little conclusion to it
yeah.
next
We'll have a
next
conclusion
podcast.
next week. Yeah.
Next
Next
podcast.
podcast. Yeah.
Now, Gaza. Now let's move on to people who probably should have won awards for their achievements, and the first one is Ryan Lee. He's been promoted to 4Dan in the North American
Yeah.
system. Very nice.
For Dan. Now that's the highest. Well, that's not. That's the highest that anyone's achieved in North America.
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
must admit, I haven't taken the time to look and see what their promotion criteria is because obviously he didn't get to 4Dan through the same way that Japanese players
Yeah,
have gotten to
yeah.
4Dan. It seems like it seems like there is a link on the North American Go Federation with a rank promotion system.
Yeah.
It looks like you accumulate points.
Yeah. And there was it was called Toronto Go Spectacular, which looks like a really nice and awesome event. And I think there may be a pro section in that, and Ryan Lee won that one. That's what it looks like to me. And after that, he's accumulated enough points to.
Well,
be
it says
promoted.
here that he actually reached the point total from winning the North American Professional Go Championship.
Yeah. Okay. Is it news about the North American Pro Go Championship can be found here, and the links to Toronto.
It's okay, right.
That's why I assume
we're talking about the same tournament.
Yeah. Well, this I imagine the Go Spectacular would include non-pro events as well.
Yes,
And
I believe
pro
that
one,
the North American Pro Go Championship was held at the Toronto Go Spectacular.
Very nice, very nice. So I don't actually know what's happened because maybe I need to check the US Go website a bit more. Maybe they've started updating more regularly. But yeah, congrats to Ryan Lee. Now, Gaza, along with Ryan Lee, there was also some promotions that happened in Japan. That usually happens at the beginning of the year, which is a special type of promotion based on prize money received.
Yes.
Yes.
So yeah, as you said, the Japanese pros now typically they get promoted. Well, either they can win titles, they can win majors, like Seki Kataro did.
Yep.
Or they can just win lots of games.
Okay.
But yeah, this is a special type of promotion where if you're at the top of the prize money list for the entire calendar year,
yeah, for your Dan level,
yes, you get promoted. So there are some restrictions here. So it's only for 1 Dan, 2 Dan, 3 Dan, 4 Dan, 5 Dan, and 6 Dan.
Right.
And you're not eligible for prize money promotion if you've already been promoted in that calendar year. So, for instance, I think Nakamura Sumire got promoted to 3 Dan in 2022.
Yep.
So she wouldn't be eligible for the prize money promotion.
Yep. And guys, I've read somewhere that this prize money is restricted to the prize money earned in the big 7 tournaments.
Yes, that is true. So the 7 majors.
Yeah. So you could have won, like, I don't know. You could have gotten some money from what's that Kiriyama Cup?
The Kiriyama Cup or the Ryusei.
Then they wouldn't have earned you.
Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
like for instance, Asami winning the young carp,
Right.
that wouldn't have impacted the prize money
Right.
promotion.
Right.
So now for 1 dan, 2 dan, 3 dan, 4 dan, and 5 dan, the top two in each of those ranks get promoted one rank.
Right.
And for 6 dan, the top player gets promoted one rank. So that's 11 promotions in the Nihon Kiin.
Right.
So some now there are some names that the podcast regulars may be familiar with. Hiroshi Yuichi.
Yep. That's this person here.
Yeah. Who was active in the Chinese Yi League and the Korean, and currently active in the Baduk League. He was the top money earner for 6 dans.
Yep.
So he gets promoted straight to 7 dan.
Very nice. Yep.
Fujisawa Arena. The obvious favorite of many people. She gets the prize money promotion. She's now up to 6 dan.
Yes.
Two of the 3 dans.
Yeah.
Fukuoka Kotaro and Sakai Yuki. They're the top 2 prize money winners in 3 dans. So they go up to 4 dan. Yes.
Yeah.
So yeah, Kotaro Fukuoka, he's making some. I'm actually surprised that he didn't already get promoted in 2022. He must have gone from 2 dan to 3 dan in 2021.
Right. Yeah. So, but anyway, I guess Fukuoka Kotaro and Yuki Sakai are the two to watch because they are showing some good results. I do believe they are playing in the Korean Baduk League. So yeah, I think Yuki Sakai even won a game, and Fukuoka almost won a game. He only lost by half a point.
Yes.
So
yes.
Definitely two players to watch.
Now, also, actually, the Kansai Kiin also has prize money promotions.
Yep.
But theirs is slightly different. For theirs, you have to be under 5 dan, so 1 dan, 2 dan, 3 dan, or 4 dan. And it's the top 3 overall.
Right.
So only 3 players from Kansai Kiin get promoted based on prize money.
Right.
Yes.
Okay. So that's the promotion news from Japan. But staying in Japan, Gaza, there was a very interesting tournament that's happened, the Women's Teikei Legends Cup.
Yes. Now, this actually happened last year. It happened, I think, at the end of December.
Yep.
So we missed this one.
Right.
And I did want to mention this one because this is the Women's Legends Cup. Now, this is a fairly new tournament by the sponsor Teikei, which I've spelt wrong in the post there. It's actually Taikai, I'm pretty sure.
Right. Yep.
So my bad there. But this is the 2nd edition of the Women's Legends Cup, and it's for women over 45 years old. And I think it's just a simple knockout with a 1-game final.
Right.
And this was actually won by Konishi Kazuko.
Right.
She's 8 dan. She beat Kuwabara Yoko 6 dan. And what's curious about this is that this is actually her first title.
Right.
She's been around quite a while. She's actually from the Kansai Kiin. So people may not have heard of her. They may actually be surprised to hear that she's 8 dan. But yeah, she is an 8 dan women's pro from Kansai Kiin, and she turned pro in 1989.
Oh wow.
Yeah, quite a while ago, and So she's been a pro for 33 years, and this is her first. This is her first ever title.
Yeah. I mean, I do wonder what was the rationale for creating this tournament. Was it just to give women players more competition, to recognize their contribution to the Go world, I guess. But it's
I think it's just this sponsored Teikei. They've made 3 tournaments. They've come in and they're sponsoring 3 new tournaments.
Yeah.
One is for Legends, and that's all. It's sort of an open Legends one, so it's just a seniors comp, and I believe a woman actually made the final of the first edition of that one.
Yeah.
Then they have this one, the Women's Legends, and they have sort of a younger one. That's the one that Ichiriki and Shibano, we've mentioned, have qualified for the final of.
Right. I see.
They do have variety, but I mean, 2 of them are for seniors. So I think, I'm not really sure if it's a Japan Go Association decision, or if the sponsor have said we want, these tournaments.
Yeah. Some interesting info from Elon in the chat is that he mentioned that the finalists in this tournament gets to play in the Legends Cup, which is supposedly a new tournament which replaced the Eco Masters tournament, which unfortunately, due to Yoda Norimoto's comments, this was discontinued. And apparently he says that Kansai Ki-in sponsors it. I mean, I think he means the Legends Cup. It was sponsored by Kansai Ki-in, and the finalists in this Women's Legends Cup gets spots in that competition. So okay. I guess we'll have to find out when that competition gets.
I would have assumed that the Neon Ki-in and the Kansai Ki-in both sponsor.
Right. Yeah, that's what I would assume.
Both cooperate.
Yeah.
With the sponsor, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So, I don't know exactly what it is, but it could be either. So, okay, so that's the...
Actually, you know what? I've just found the website for Teikei, and it looks like I have spelt it right. It is Teikei. Right. So, I take that back. I didn't get it wrong.
Right.
I think Go for Go website spells it with A's instead of E's.
Right.
So that's why I assumed I was wrong. But you know what? I'm right.
Okay. Go, Gaza.
Yeah.
Gaza. So Gaza, shall we move on to the calendar?
Actually, you know what? No, Go for Go spells it with E's as well. I don't know where I thought they were spelling it wrong. Maybe I'm thinking of a different tournament.
Right. Maybe I don't know. Yeah. Yeah, but Teikei it is.
Yes.
So Gaza, is it time for the calendar?
Did we miss anything?
I've talked about everything that was on my tabs. So yeah.
Well, Ben, we've talked about everything. Let's go to the calendar.
Calendar, Gaza. Obviously today was the Kisei Games, but what's happening?
Well, I'm excited about the calendar. You know why?
Why?
Because there's another Kisei game on.
Kisei, yep. Oh yeah, next week.
Game 2, but
yeah,
day 1 is on Friday. Day 2 is on Saturday.
Damn, gotta leave a bit.
And we normally record this podcast
on Friday.
Well, on Friday. By the way, this is Australia time.
Yeah.
And this is a Friday evening at the moment.
Yeah.
And that's when we usually record the podcast. I'm really keen to record a podcast halfway through a game.
Right.
I don't think anyone else is as excited as I am, but I have been. This is going to be the first time. If we do manage to record on Friday, it'll be the first time we record a podcast after day 1 of a 2-day game.
Yeah.
And I want to try it. I want to try it just once.
Yeah. Okay.
Just want to see what it's like.
All right.
Maybe it won't. Maybe it won't work.
Yeah.
Because we're still gonna have to talk about day 2.
Yeah.
In the next podcast, so maybe it won't work, but I want to at least try.
Yeah. Let's give that a try. So yeah, awesome stuff. But also there's some other big stuff next week, which is the women's Kisei Game 1, Ueno Asami versus Nakamura Sumire. This is like best of 3, I believe.
Women's Kisei, I believe, it is best of 3.
Yeah.
People may be looking forward more to this than to the actual Kisei, the open Kisei.
Yeah.
Because of course of Nakamura Sumire, and Asami also draws some fans as well.
Yeah.
I have to say, I do hope that Nakamura puts in a good showing. Otherwise, I feel it'll just be a 2-0.
Yeah. I mean, Nakamura Sumire has challenged for a major title before. She's yet to win a tournament, like a women's tournament in Japan.
She's yet to win an official tournament. She did win the Discovery Cup, which is an unofficial tournament.
Yeah.
So she's still looking for her first crown, I guess.
Yeah. Like she's challenged Fujisawa Arena before, unsuccessful, and now she's charging the other major, player in the women's game in Japan, which is Ueno Asami. So
yes, and unfortunately for Nakamura Sumire, this is a fast game.
Yeah.
The women's Kisei, unlike the open Kisei, the women's Kisei is a fast game. I believe it's something like 30 seconds a move with 10 1-minute Byoyomis. I could be making that up, but it is a very fast game.
Yeah.
Let me see if
Gaza, while you're checking that,
it is. I'm right. Yes, I'm right. It's 30 seconds a move with 10 1-minute Byoyomis. And I think that's also the same time control for the Young Carp, which Asami has won twice in a row. So
good luck there, Nakamura. Yes. Now the other one that caught my eye was the Korean League, Japan versus Celtrion on Sunday. So so that's happening
on Sunday, right?
Yeah, on Sunday, and and there's a bunch of other games like you got the I believe the Judan semi between Ichiriki Ryo and Yamayuta. You got the Maxim Cup on Monday, Shin Min-jun versus Lee Won-young.
Well, I think I'm more excited about the Tuesday Maxim Cup game,
which is Choi Jong versus Park Hong-seok. So that will be very interesting. Of course, the Maxim Cup is restricted to 9 dan, so it's very.
It's a Korea. It's not technically not an invitational. Well, it's kind of an invitational, but it's a 9 dan only tournament. It is a novelty. It is a novelty tournament. It's not a major.
Right.
In Korea, but it does have the prize money of a Korean major.
Yeah. So it's still pretty cool. Nothing else that's too big, because I think Team Japan is meant to be playing again on next Friday, this time versus Ulsan Korea Zinc. So that's another big one next week to look forward to.
I mean, I'm looking forward to all of the Team Japan games. I still don't know how they're going to go. They did very well in their first round, which we discussed.
Yep.
Only falling at the very end.
Yep. By half a point.
By half a point, but they did get one match point because they made it to the ace game.
Right. Yep. Very nice. Yep.
So, who knows? Will they make the playoffs? Will they come last? Will they come first?
Yeah.
It's very early days, and it looks like they're going to put in a good performance from what we've seen so far.
Yeah. It looks like both the Taiwan team and the Japanese team are somewhat competitive, so it's good. Okay, so that's the calendar for the next week. I can't spot anything else that's kind of really worth mentioning too much, but the calendar is there for everyone.
Is there any more comments in the chat? Elon has posted so many comments. Oh my god. Wait, let's see. Japan against Choi Jong's team. Wait, who's Choi Jong's team again?
That's the Byeongsang Hills team. So is it Celtrion? I don't know. No, it's not.
No, it's not Celtrion.
It's not
Chojong doesn't play for Celtrion.
Maybe it's Ulsan Korea Zinc. I don't know.
Wait, what? No, Chojong doesn't play for Celtrion.
Yeah.
Wait. Okay, I'm just quickly looking at Ulsan Korea Zinc. Oh yeah. That's Chojong's team. Yeah. Shin Min-jun. Yeah.
So,
Oh yeah. Oh, that's gonna be a great one.
Yeah.
I really hope Chojong is one of the players because only 4 of the players get picked.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. So let's see. I'm in
Love
Chojong.
that.
All right, Gaza. So that's it for another.
Wait a sec. Yeah, no. Chojong and Byeongsang are not on the same team.
Oh, they're not on the same team.
No, they're not on the same team. No, that.
Chojong and another big player is on the same team. So
Yeah, it's Shin Min-jun.
Oh, Shin
Chojong
Min-jun.
being Shin Min-jun's
Yeah,
team,
that's right.
not Byeongsang-il's team.
Okay. Yep.
Byeongsang-il's team already. They were the ones that played Team Japan already.
Right. Okay. I see. Yeah.
That's It's not POSCO Chemical. That was Byeongsang-il's former team.
Right.
Is it the one with the? It's the one with the real. Yeah, Jangwanjang Chunok. Remember that one?
Yeah, that one. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Gaza.
All right. Well, I think I'm done now. I'm done.
It's really done. So I think that's the calendar, and that's it for another week. So thanks, Gaza, again. For
Yes, thank you.
comments. And thanks, Elon, for being the sole commenter in this stream so far. Oh, actually, it's not a sole commenter. Viking has also commented, but
Yes,
Elon's definitely dominated this chat this time. So thanks for tuning in, and for everyone else, I'll see you. So